What's happening YouTube? My name is Alex and in today's video I'm taking a look at the Doogee X5 Max. So this phone is brand new, it's just released. So this phone is trying to build on the original X5 and it's trying to be better, kind of for the same price. As always, I left links in the video description wherever I found the phone cheaper online. There are lots and lots of stores online and it really depends where you want to buy it, what's closer to you and so on. So if you want to check this out, I left some links in the video's description. Now about the phone. So we have a phone with a 5-inch screen. It's a screen with a 720p resolution. It's a 5-inch screen. It does get bright enough and it does have good enough colors and the viewing angles are pretty good as well. However, in bright daylight it is very difficult to see, so if you're outside even at maximum brightness you're gonna have a couple of issues seeing the screen. The phone is made out of plastic entirely. The frame looks like it's made out of metal, however it's not actually made out of metal, it is made out of plastic. This is a thick phone as well. So inside we have a 4000 mAh battery. It's better than the original X5 but not good enough for a 4000 mAh battery in my opinion. Again, battery usage is going to depend on individual user, how you keep your brightness, if you use the GPS, the location and other stuff like that. So on top of the frame we have the charging port and the 3.5mm audio jack, and at the bottom we have what seems to be two speakers. However, only one of them is a speaker, the other one is a microphone. So no, there are no double speakers on this phone. On the right hand side of the phone we have the power button and the volume keys. On the front of the phone we are gonna see that the bezels are quite big, so this is not a small phone. I mean, I've seen much smaller phones for a 5-inch screen. So we do have a front-facing camera, the proximity and the light sensors, and the buttons at the bottom don't light up. On the back of the phone we have a 8-megapixel camera. The camera isn't too bad. Underneath that we have the flash fingerprint sensor, and since I'm talking about the fingerprint sensor does really good. I think it's at par with my Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. Like, I haven't had a single time when the fingerprint sensor didn't work, so it does work really good. So I'm happy to see that for such a cheap phone. And that's about it for the back of the phone. The back of the phone is made out of plastic. It doesn't feel that premium, but let's keep in mind it is a very cheap phone and you can't expect that much for a phone that's like $70 or so. Underneath the back cover we have two SIM card slots. One it's a micro SIM card and the other one it's a nano SIM card, and you can also install a SD card. Since I'm talking about SD cards, once you have a SD card inside the phone, you can actually install apps onto the SD card. So you can select a place where you want to install the apps. So this is really good because some phones don't have this function and you're left with just the internal storage. But with this phone you can actually install apps onto the SD card. The UI of the phone looks pretty good. It is close to stock Android. And if you look at it, you're gonna see there isn't that much added onto the stock Android. If we go into the settings app, here we're gonna find a couple of cool features like smart gestures. So you can double tap on the screen to wake it up, which is a really cool feature in my opinion, and it does work really good. So smart gestures are there. We're gonna find the fingerprint scanner, so you can just register whatever finger you're using. And if we go all the way down to about phone, we're gonna see that the phone is using Android 6, and it is pretty cool to see that you're gonna be up to date for at least a few months. Other than that, that's about it for the settings app. So it's a very simple thing, nothing too complicated. We have a cool feature as well that's called Turbo Download. And since I'm talking about Turbo Download, I'm gonna show you some network speeds, so on 3G and on Wi-Fi. And the last one on top there, it's actually done using the Turbo Download, so it was much faster using the Turbo Download. What this does, you use the 3G network or the 4G network, whatever the phone supports, and the Wi-Fi in the same time. So this way you can download much faster. Like if you're in a rush, the turbo download, it's the way to go. So you're wondering, is this phone fast? Well, it isn't that bad. On the Antutu benchmark, we get a score of 24,600, and this is quite normal for this type of processor and RAM. And here you can see some more information about the phone, like the resolution, the Android version, and how the phone is called. On the Geekbench, we get a multi-core score of 1156 and a single core of 356. And again, this is normal for this type of processor and RAM. I mean, you can't really expect that much with that MediaTek 6580 processor. And on this page, again, we see some more information about the phone, like the Android 6.0, how much available RAM, and so on. And if you really want to confirm what's inside the phone, we're going to open the CPU-Z app, and here we can see the processor, the RAM, and stuff like that, but it's stuff that we already know. Normally with cheap phones like this, we don't really get that many sensors, and I'm going to show you what sensors are available. So we do have the accelerometer sensor that works really good. There is a magnetic field sensor here, but I don't see it working. The orientation also, I don't see it working. The light sensor does work really good, and the last sensor is the proximity sensor, which also works really good. This is used when you make phone calls and stuff like that. So when you put the phone to your ear, the screen is gonna turn off so you don't touch the screen. About the GPS on this phone, so I was able to get a fix onto the GPS. However, it does take quite a long time, and I actually had to go outside because I couldn't get a fix inside the house. With most phones I can just connect inside the house easily. So the GPS works, but it does take a while to connect the satellites, and you do have to be outside. So keep that in mind, the GPS is not the greatest. The original X5 didn't have the greatest screen sensitivity, and this one also has the exact same issue. So you can only touch the screen in two places in the same time, and at the bottom of the screen here, it's a bit difficult because the screen doesn't register both touches in the same time that great. So keep that in mind, the screen sensitivity is not great, and you may have a couple of issues while playing some games. If you are wondering if this phone has root access, you're probably right. No, it does not have root access from the factory, but this is very, very normal. Like, I don't think you're gonna find too many phones with proper root access from the factory. And now let's take a closer look at the camera. So we have an 8 megapixel sensor onto the back of the phone. It is appropriate for what it is, like a phone that's $70. So daylight pictures are gonna look quite good. And again, I'm gonna put a couple of pictures that I took with the phone right so you can see them. So some pictures turn out really good in daylight. Nighttime pictures that you're expecting, not that great. The camera does have a couple of cool features, like you can say capture, capture, capture. Okay, doesn't work all the time. Let me turn up the, okay, let's try again. Capture, capture, cheese, cheese. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Cheese, cheese. Oh, so it worked again. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, it's a cool feature to have. I have it on my Samsung phone, but on the Samsung phone it does work really, really good. For selfies, the camera is good enough, so I'm gonna show you a couple of selfies that I took. So selfies are okay, and video calling, it's gonna be okay as well. For filming, not the greatest footage, but you can make an opinion yourself seeing the following footage that I'm gonna post that was taken with this phone. On the YouTube app, the maximum resolution for watching videos is at 720p, so the exact same resolution that the phone has. That's pretty good. Watching videos goes very smooth because the resolution is not the best, right? The speaker at the bottom is loud enough, so I'm gonna let you hear the speaker for a quick second. so it does get loud enough. However, at maximum volumes it gets a bit distorted. Browsing on Chrome, it's also done really good. Again, you have to leave the phone load for a couple of seconds like any other phone, but after the phone loads the page, scrolling up, down and zooming in and out, it's done flawlessly. So no issues whatsoever browsing the internet. Call quality, it's also decent like any phone out there. The speaker is loud enough so you can hear 99% of the conversations. Again, if you're in a very noisy environment, you're gonna have a couple of issues listening to the speaker, but that's for every phone out there, and everyone was able to hear me clearly while using this phone. So making phone calls, it's also done really well. So in order to conclude this video, the phone is not an expensive phone, so don't expect performance, a lot of performance for such cheap price. You do get a 4000 milliamp battery. I was expecting it to last a bit longer. It doesn't last that long. However, it isn't an expensive phone. The camera does okay. Gaming works really good. And I left a link in the top right corner if you want to check out the gaming test I did with this phone. And the UI seems very smooth, and it does go pretty good. The fingerprint scanner also works really good. Like, I haven't had a single time when it didn't work good. So the phone does have a couple of great features for its low price. So overall, I think it's a good phone to buy if you're on a budget. Hopefully this video was useful. If you did enjoy it, please press the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.